Hello and welcome to the TPE Academy in the Candidate Development Series. I am so excited to be with you all today. My name is Caress Gillespie and I am the chair of the Placement Exchange Planning Committee. I get the honor of introducing our next session in our series, Negotiating the Bag, and our amazing presenter, Dr. Janae Collier. We're going to get this started and I'm going to toss it over to her.
Hey everyone, thank you for being here. Thank you for engaging in this experience because negotiating money is uncomfortable, right? Like we have been conditioned to think about not talking about money or doing those things. But we're so fortunate to have the placement exchange understand the value of talking about money. So first I want to give our respects and thanks to the placement exchange for allowing us to have this conversation and more conversations about how we can be better in our job searching journey and experience. Once again, hi everyone. I am Dr. Janae Collier, affectionately known as Dr. J, and we're going to talk about negotiating to get the bag. So maybe some people don't know what the bag is. It's a little slang, a little common terms in some communities, but the bag is the money, right? You're putting the money in the bag. You want to take it out, your purse, your wallet, whatever that looks like, that is the bag for us. So to get us into the groove, who is Dr. J? So I can give you a little bit about who I am. And my educational profile and my business profile have been complementary throughout my journey. So as an educator and my experience in education, I've earned all of my degrees from the wonderful University of Cincinnati, go Bearcats. I have been in higher education for 11 years with a hybrid experience in the academic arena as well as the student affairs arena, working at professional and private universities. So I have a little mixture of what the tone and temperament can be at these different types of universities. I also, outside of my work in higher education, I have been a business owner entrepreneurially, and I have had a vending machine business called Ben Natural Cincinnati, which I own and operated for about 5 years. And then I also own and operate currently Dr. J's Life and Financial Coaching, so a lot about money. Hence why we're here talking about money, okay? And then I'm also a financial contributor on the app Up Level, which is a businesswoman app, so that we can become better women within the industry of life. So that's a little bit about me, so I can build my credit up with you as we have these conversations. So I have that higher education lens, and I also come in with a business lens in my outside of work practice, but I bring that business list and experience into what I do as a professional and how I navigate my experiences throughout every day. So as you're here, you're like, what? So I know who you are. What are we going to learn? We're going to learn a lot today. You're going to learn about how you can negotiate throughout the job process, appropriate times to negotiate throughout the job process, learning about different levels of negotiating, what that looks like when you have those conversations, and then gauging when you can negotiate and what that looks like. So before we get there, what is negotiation? Negotiation is consciously for this experience is consciously having a strategic dialogue and efforts to gain a mutually beneficial solution. So this is a conscious thing. But I turn on our brain when we negotiate, because sometimes we are autopiloting life and we're auto, yes, how are you feeling? Good, good, good. This negotiation, all of our senses have to be activated and ready to go in there and get what we're looking for. And so it's beneficial to you, right? Like we're here to make gains for you because you are a business. How you operate your home and your life is in a form of a business. So to make sure that form of a business is operating well, we need the revenue coming in, and this is that revenue opportunity. So let's be strategic in how we go into these conversations to get what's best for us and what's best for our future and lifestyle. So we're going to play 5 senses, right? I want you to think about the first time you negotiated, okay? Probably like, Dr. J, like I don't know if I've negotiated before. Yeah, come on. 5 senses. So I want you all to think about for a second the first time you negotiated. What were the smells? What did you hear? How were you feeling? Was your heart racing? What were your thoughts? What did you see in the other person? What did you see in yourself in that time? So just think about those 5 senses that you were negotiating, right? All right. You got that? Okay. I'm going to talk to you pre-Dr. J, right? Pre-Dr. J, before I started owning and operating businesses. We're going to talk young Dr. J. We're going to take it into, I'm the youngest of my whole family, right? So I would have to negotiate a lot. So a lot of you might have thought negotiation processing starts as a professional. It starts before then. It starts when you ask for that extra scoop of ice cream. It starts when you ask to have a little bit more time on for bed, right? Like, can I just watch one more episode? So negotiations happen throughout our everyday experiences with self. For me, my earliest negotiation was with my mom, right? So my mom being my primary parent and negotiating what I could do and what I could get away with, right? So in those spaces, my key negotiating tactics were, I'm a good kid. My grades are great. I never get in trouble. Can I please go out with my friends? My mom would be like, no, you cannot go out. And I'm like, all right, maybe she didn't hear me. Like, maybe I should try another way. I'll make sure that I clean my room and the basement and blah, blah, blah. If I could just do this thing. And I see how she changes a little bit. I'll think about it, right? Like she's in the process of thinking about it. And then we get to the last statement. Okay, so mom, have you thought about it? Yeah, I've thought about it. You can go under these conditions. Do you accept the terms? So I'm getting what I want, the sleepover. But ultimately, she's telling me I'm gonna have to do some other type of housework and readings to get this. So I came in with my cards. I figured out who I was. Like, I'm a good student. I'm a good daughter. How can this not? So I want you to think about that when you're walking to these negotiation experiences. Negotiations have been happening since before we were able to conceptualize what was happening in our lives and what we were looking to gain. Now we're transforming this on the larger scale, your lifestyle. How is this going to impact your lifestyle, more particularly as we think about money? So as we talk about money, I want us to think about ourselves first. So me, myself, and money. That is the root of most negotiations. That's the real determining factors. So when we talk about identity and money and ourself, what does that look like? So when you consider your identity, it's important for us to all think about what does it mean with our identity. So identity can be a key indicator of some of our salary gains and not many gains, and that can be wage gaps. Our role association is another part of our identity. So are you the head of household? So you're looking at money differently, what you have to bring. And then also when it comes to your identity, your financial fears. I would be remiss if I did not talk about the inequities that happen with money when we think about negotiation. So if you see, there are some graphs there from sources such as the Department of Labor that indicate, okay, this is what it looks like when we look at median weekly income attached to your sex and your educational attainment, right? Then we have another graph that looks at your race in comparison to white men and what that means in regards to what you earn and if it's controlled or uncontrolled. Excuse me, team. Thanks for being here with me. So those are things I want you to consider in your identity. Wage gaps, how does that impact? Like, how do you think about yourself with money, your role association within your household, and then also financial fears that you have? And a lot of that can be rooted and conditioned in the space of money myths, right? So these money myths are, I should be thankful. I'm finally working at X organization. And do you know how hard it is to get in there? So I should be happy. Or it's rude to ask for more. Like I need to accept what I got and keep it moving because I got this. So it's great. Or they're offering me more than I thought. So I came in thinking that I wanted 62 because the range was 60 or 59 to 67. And with my experience, they gave me 64 and I wanted 62. So I should take it. Okay, that's a perspective. And then the other is if I ask for more, they'll be like, forget it. You want more money? We just gave you 64. Huh, you want more? No way. No, thank you. Or you may also have some identities associated with you and you say, well, I'm the first to get a position at this type in my family. Like, I'm the first to do this. I'm the first one to have a salary offering in my family. So I'm going to accept this. So these are myths. These are scripts that we tell ourselves about money in our negotiation process that can deter us and deplete us. So as we think about those things, who and what group is mostly impacted by this? Those who are less likely to ask are going to be individuals that identify as women, individuals in the BIPOC community, and then also individuals from international relations to the country that they are applying to. And that's important because you have experiences, and even myself, where well, I'm going to be the only Black woman there, so I'm doing a lot for my community, or I'm doing a lot. Where if we're not asking, we're setting the person that comes back after us to not have as much because they may be measuring it by you. So things to consider: you're less likely to ask. So I gave you a lot of more facts and information and maybe some feelings in that. And you're like, okay, Dr. J. So they gave me, I asked, I thought I was going to get 62. They offered 64. I'm okay with that. Like, I'm okay with accepting what they gave me because it's more than what I thought. And I want to put this numerically because sometimes numbers, they yell more than words. Like, I can tell you all these words, but the numbers make the most sense. So when we think about negotiating, how much money do you think, from you taking that 62 or you accepting that 64, not pushing to 67 because that's the max? I already gave you 64. Why not ask for more? Like, what's happening here? Or when you accept the first offer and you don't think about the other components or things you can ask for, how much do you think that costs you over the course of your career? We say you worked for like 30 years, right? Compound interest, all the things. So think about it. All right, you probably have some numbers in your thoughts. Okay. According to a Carnegie Mellon professor in economics, you're looking at about a loss of $1 million to $1.5 million. Okay. I hope that hit, right? $1 million to $1.5 million when we do not ask, when we're accepting what's first given to us. So I want to bring you into this space of asking. I want to bring you to get that confidence because you're leaving it out of your bag and we want the money in our bag. We want to contribute to that money. So think about that as you are thinking of, should I ask for more? Yeah, because you got $1 million to $1.5 million sitting on the table if we do not. So think about what you can and cannot ask for in these spaces. So now that we know the background, ourself with money, we need to know ourself and our worth. What type of worth do we bring to these conversations? And that's important for us to think about as we think about, okay, well, I have a degree. Cool, great. What happens? What's the story behind that degree? What's the experience? What's the certification? So we're going to get into some self-reflective questions. So things that you can think about are the skills, the knowledge, and the experience you bring to the role. The cover letter only captures so much. The resume can only reflect so much. It's the conversations that bring realization to what you do. That's how we conceptualize it. Those are the conversations that we are having intentionally throughout our interactions. So take a moment, write down some things, the knowledge that you have. Okay, so for example, Dr. J's mental health first aid certified. That may not always be captured. So how do I capture that in another space? Okay, what are the needs of the department and institution? Okay, so that's you taking a whole nother level of evaluation. That looks like doing some pre-research and work. If they have a DEI plan, if they have a college address, and that in that college address, it talks about retention. If they have other opportunities and things that are not shared in the interview, you find it. You find it and you fix it, right? You find ways to fix it. Okay, so they're talking about this in the DEI initiative. What do I bring to that? What things have I not captured? And then also, what additional value can you add to the institution? As a financial coach, I bring great fiscally responsible stewardship mindset to my work. How can I share that with other components of the university? That's something that's not always going to be shared. So how do I bring that into the space of the academic arena? So take a moment, think about where and how I bring my talents and what it can look like. Because this is the time for you to step on the pedestal, your soapbox, all the things. This is money. Now, I have a question. Let's just bring it back. Okay, Dr. J. Because in these negotiation spaces, we are, we can be, we can think in this moment of now and not and on a larger scale. So when we think on a larger scale, I want to bring you there. This larger scale, think of this in the most simple terms, it's a game show, right? Do, whatever game show, whatever game show you're on, whatever game show you see yourself in, right? So we're at this game show, and they're like, all right, this is a chance for you to win $50,000. And you're like, oh my goodness, I want to win, right? This is that. This is when they're like, okay, so for you to win $50,000, I need you to list all these things. What are your comments? What are your achievements? Why do you deserve this? This is that game show. They want to see everything. We don't hide during the game show. We're jumping up and down. Pick me, because I want to win it. And the way I pick you is by showing up. You show up. You show what you have, and you showcase. So in that showcase, you're going to showcase it in your cover letter. You're going to let them know all the reasons, all the things that they do not see in that resume. We're also bringing it up in our interview responses. In our interview responses, we are saying, I have had experience in this. Looking at the DEI plan, I noticed this. I also would contribute this way. This is what I also bring to the table. These are the things that we are going to do to showcase what we have and what we're able to achieve in this space. And the most important place we definitely showcase our worth is in the negotiation conversation. That is the last place. So we have 3 touch points. And in the negotiation conversation, there's already been a pre-conversation based off of your cover letter and your interview responses to say, yeah, they can definitely do this. So based off what they shared, I'm giving them this number. If we hide behind our achievements until the end, and they base it off of what they know a little bit, right? You got great answers, but I'm not seeing as much achievement, but I know you can do the work. That negotiation conversation is based off what you shared. Share it all. Share it all for the $1 million prize. I mean, it's really $1 million prize too. When we think about 1 to 1.5 million is on the table. So we have what do we have to do when it comes to that negotiation process, which is knowing yourself. Now we're going to prep for these conversations. We're going to look at the 3 M's of negotiation prep, which is the mindset review. So when you think about your mindset review, we're going to do internal and external. So those internal review, understanding that this is a business mindset, negotiations, and making sure that we are clear with what we desire and want. So in that clarity, we're providing facts and figures. In your cover letter, add those numbers. Drop that you've managed an $80,000 budget. Drop that you've supervised 10 people. Drop those numbers and those things. Those are facts and figures, and those are clear. When I gave you information, it made it more clear when I said 1 to 1.5 million dollars, right? You're like, yeah, I get it. If I don't ask. But when I put that number out, you're like, oh, I get it now. That's what we want to do. Have that business mindset, provide facts and figures that look like numbers. Because in this business conversation, we want to remove the feelings. We want to remove, I feel like I would be great. I know I would be great in this position because of my previous accomplishments. Please allow me to share the ways in which I will do that. Okay, sounds right. External review. When you're saving the company, when you think about the company is there to save money, right? So when you're having these conversations, you have to understand who you're working with. So we're working with HR managers, we're working with directors, and these individuals have had negotiation conversations probably 3 times this week already. we as individuals who may not be in the field of negotiation have these conversations maybe once every 3 years, unless you're negotiating other things in your life. But when it comes to business and our career, it is usually once every few years. So we have to freshen up on what negotiation looks like for us, but understanding they are doing it based off of a system and metrics that they've been given, and their job is to get you to fit in that metric. Your job is to get them to fit within your metric and shake it up a little bit. And we're coming in with those facts and those figures because 1 to 1.5 million is on the line. We want our $1 million prize. Who wants to be a millionaire? Woohoo, right here on the way. So we're going to do a market review as well. So as we're preparing for our negotiation, the next M is market review. So when we're looking at that market review, internally look at the institution job post, look at the public university salary, what did they post publicly if they are a public school. And then next, the external review. So comparing institutions, looking on higher ed jobs, seeing what other information is saying about that position salary. When it comes to the, hey, this is a new position, look at comparable positions that have comparable workloads and other things so that you can have an understanding as to what the value is, and you can come in with that confidence. Consider things like region. So is this a Midwestern? Is this down south? What is that regional negotiation process look like too in regards to their salary? So maybe individuals in California are making more money. The cost of living is more out there. New York is, the cost of living is more. But when you look in your region, okay, for this region on the market, this makes the most sense. So whenever you are doing your money, the last part of the M's for negotiation prep is money review. So you're thinking about your salary and then more. And this is for you and your own prep process. So you're like, all right, this is the salary I want. Pow, got it. But then think more. What's the start date you're thinking about? What's the flexible work schedule with paid time off, health benefits, all those things? Because we can become so distracted by, all right, I'm going to give you $67,000. And with that, you're going to take a retirement change of, we'll say the retirement is going to be 5% instead of 10% of your salary. Whoa, hold on. So I just lost money, 5% in my retirement because I took about 6%. Okay, hold on. How do the numbers look? How does it feel, right? Because if you just took, if they're like, yeah, we'll give you that $2,000, knowing that $2,000 was really 4%, and then they cut something by 5%, we want to understand that. Because it goes beyond those numbers and beyond what we can always see. So think about ways that you can negotiate that are not as tangible, that you may not see, looking beyond the number. If healthcare providers in there, do they have an FSA or HSA option? So those are things we want to look at. So as we think about the landscape of negotiation, timing. The timing is essential. There are different ideas around timing when you do it. For a new or current employer, it can happen at your performance evaluation or when you get an offer, or it can also happen before the offer if the information is not posted. That looks like, what is the range that is, what is the range for this position, the salary range for this position? And then also can be discussed by HR or the hiring manager. So when you think about the hiring manager and the HR person, your candidate host, your campus host may not be the person to ask. They may not know the range. So thinking about who is the hiring manager and understanding how to have that conversation with them. So when you have that conversation, and we'll say that we are here and we've received an offer, we're going to talk about 4 conversations that need to happen. Conversation 1, you got the offer, you got the offer, woohoo, woohoo. So first and foremost, show your gratitude. Say thank you so much, thank you to your team, I'm really grateful. Then you're gonna express your excitement. I'm excited to have the opportunity to work at your institution because I really know that my goals, vision align with the program, the initiative, the role. Then you politely ask for a 48-hour request. Thank you so much. I just really want to look at the information and provide and review it in the next 48 hours and get back to you. What time works for you to connect again? So you can ask what time works well for them. And this offer conversation usually presents itself in a conditional form. Hey, we would like to conditionally offer you $67,000. And the conditional really comes from, is your background check going to go through, checking references, some of those things that institutions do. And you say, okay, great. Like, that sounds fine. That works well. So that is conversation one. Conversation two, it's the one with yourself. It is the one with yourself. When you compare the personal package that you made, when you looked at, okay, in that prep of negotiation, you said you wanted this number, you said you wanted to start at this date. So it's looking at that personal package you made. And then what to ask for. Depending on the level, you have different opportunities to ask for things. So at entry level, one of the barriers or things that happen is that you are usually presented with other individuals at a larger quantity that have the same role or responsibilities. So your margin to negotiate looks different. But the other things though can look better when we think about flex time. How do you have your hours for the day? What does vacation look like? Because of the flexibility and potentially the more people in that space and in that role. But when it comes to salary, there are sometimes this is a cutoff or this is that. That's when you ask for things more creatively. Can I work remote for the summer since my work looks like this? Can I do these things? Mid-level, and I should also say mid-level in any of these levels, professional development is always a thing that you're able to ask for. And professional development can be, can I receive a certification? May I go to this conference? And depending on the level, the amount increases because at entry level, you may see yourself finding more broad conferences. Mid-level, you're getting into more of your specialties. So you're looking for certifications and institutes to attend. When you get to the executive level, this is when we can look at things such as teaching abroad, sabbatical, how can I do other work that is complementary? Because you have built your portfolio and you typically have a career or other things outside of your work that may complement or bring the institution more grounding. So this can look like asking for time to conduct research, asking for time to do a co-teaching option. So this is what this is our options that you do have, whether it be teaching, having a teaching appointment in addition to this position, or doing some other partnership with an organization that may remove you physically from that space, but still keeps you connected virtually to that organization. So as you think about these things, whenever you're at an entry level, understand that there's other people that they're basing you around. So you may look at other schedules or things that work to your benefit. And then with the mid-level, you have more opportunities to talk more about into your specialty. So how do you articulate desiring certifications and things of that specialty nature, and maybe talking about parking spaces and vacation and time off. And then executive level, that's when at that point you may want to expand your brand and look at other options in regards to partnerships that you can do while working at that institution. In this conversation with self as well, you want to understand your non-negotiables. What are you like? No way, no way. I will not be doing this. I know you said these things. How can you provide those non-negotiables to yourself? So whenever you go back to that conversation and they're like, yeah, we really need you to wear 2 left shoes. You're like, yeah, it's going to be difficult. This is where I draw the line. And then also remember, it's more than money. That's when you're going to do a deep dive on the website, human resource page. Are they matching 10% of your retirement? Are they providing you with a flexible spend account or dependent savings account? And then the tuition remission. If you have a family or you have partners and you have other people who want to gain educational experience or knowledge, that tuition remission isn't only for you, can extend to your family. So looking at those other things that have monetary value that you may not see all in your salary. So you are now in that now we're really amping up for this negotiation conversation. So in that negotiation conversation, you've prepped, we're doing facts and figures. We're going to show them these are the things I've done, these are the figures, this is what I've achieved. Being realistic and relevant. So understanding, all the universities around the country have made the average salary for this position is this. And you may be at a smaller liberal arts college, right? So it may look different. The budget's going to look different than a Research One institution that has 45,000 students. So just be realistic in what you're presenting and make it relevant to the school and looking at what their options are, and be pleasant in the conversation. We want to avoid over speaking people. We want to avoid saying like, oh, well, I've seen this, or can you do this? We want to still make sure that we are being pleasant in the conversation so that they are more excited and they're more likely to say, hey, I hear what you're saying. Let me find out where that extra $5,000 is. Let me find out where that extra technology is for you so that you have so that you have someone on your team asking for those things. Conversation number 4. You did it. You have the money. Okay, great. So you have the money. Congratulations. You are now in the space where you have an offer. Have it on paper. So we want a written offer, which can be typed to you, letterhead, all the things to say, you are being also rewarded with an additional $2,000 in professional development. And you can also receive X, Y, and Z, boo, 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 right? We want to know this. We want to have it in writing because you had a conversation with Bill. Bill retired. Bob is now here, and Bob has no record of that conversation. We want to make sure you're setting yourself up for success in this negotiation process. So make sure we are getting this in writing so that we can bring it to the table and say, hey, Bill found that $2,000 somewhere. And that's what I was told. So have it down on writing. So as you think about this negotiation process, I want you to know your worth. Remember the risk. The risk is $1 million to $1.5 million. Who wants to be a millionaire? You can do it when you ask for more money. So ask for more. Even if you're like, it's more than what I thought I was going to get, or I'm lucky to be here, break that down. That's $1 million you're putting on the table. Ask for more money. Even if the bandwidth, hey, we're having you at the top of the bandwidth. Ask. All they'll say is no. But you asked and they know you want more. So it's prompting them to think, okay, I know we're not able right now but when we get there, when donors come, we'll have this at a performance review evaluation. We'll look at that number. We'll look to working towards that number in a different way. Practice negotiating, right? We do stuff in our head. And then when it's put out in the atmosphere, we're like, whoo, that didn't go the way I thought. So what we want to do is practice. So rather it's practicing in the mirror, practicing on Zoom to record yourself with another colleague, but just do a little improv, work with other people to do that, and review some more videos on how to practice and fine tune your negotiation process. Lastly, be kind to yourself throughout this whole process. This process is long, right? You have a lot of resources. It can be overwhelming, but no matter what, you're amazing. You're on this video, you've gotten to this part of your career, and that deserves a congratulations. So congratulations to you for all the time and energy that you've put to get to this space. Remember that you are already in a healthy place in your space and career, and the reward is $1 million. If you got nothing else from this conversation, it's $1 million. I need you to get your millions, okay? But $1 million, remember the reward. I talk about the risk, but I don't want you to forget the reward. Your reward is $1 to $1.5 million, and that's because you asked. So practice the art of asking, negotiating, so that you know you can have more from asking. And if you want more time, all you have to do is ask, right? So reach out to me. I am Dr. J. You can reach out to me on my business website or on my Instagram or my LinkedIn so that we can have conversations about negotiation, because negotiation happens every day. Ask for the 10% off. Ask, if you want to start practicing, ask for a 10% off. You go out, you're like, hey, can you take 10% off of this, right? Oh, can I get an extra shot of whipped cream? Complimentary. Those are small ways to start negotiating to get to the bigger goal, 1 to 1.5 million. And that's what I want for all of you. I want us to be millionaires. I want us to negotiate and have that confidence. So reach out to me if you have any questions. I want to show once again the respects and appreciation for the Placement Exchange to create a space for us to grow and learn as professionals, and for us to find work together. Because in all of this, we are working together to provide a more optimal experience of learning, and also an optimal experience for ourselves and our lives. So thank you, TPE, and thank you everyone for tuning in.